I'm expecting an extremely generous return, almost a too good to be true return, which is very similar to what we're going to be discussing today. But once it's claimed, once the project's spoken for, you're out. And that's, people have been getting a little bit frustrated that they're missing out on some of these projects that go within a matter of hours. There's not much I can say about that. I think, it's a dog eat dog situation. And when you're dealing with these types of returns, everybody is clamoring to get involved, especially since it's passive and is not going to take a lot of sweat equity, if any at all, from your side. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel. My name's Matthew. I'm here to help you go further, faster financially. And I do that in a variety of ways, right? I help you hack the banks. I help you manage your budget more carefully. I help you attack and eliminate your debt using strategic methods that very few people know about, that are never taught in schools. And I also share investment opportunities when I come across them that I find intriguing and in many cases participate in myself. So today is one of those. I want to share with you another opportunity here that I think will surpass most, if not all, of the investment opportunities that you've recently been considering. And it happens to be with Maven again. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you're a subscriber after this. You're going to want to make sure that you're following along this channel in order to help build your wealth over time. It should be one of a few or of many channels that you consume, because we come across different opportunities that other people don't. And one of those is with this hard money lender out of California named Maven Loans. This is Joe Menendez, that's the owner. And we've been working with Joe now since this last spring, and we've been vetting Joe since a year ago this time, fall of 2022. And everything we've seen so far has been fantastic. In fact, I became an investor in one of the projects that Joe brought to us. And I want to talk to you about a new project that I had a long conversation with about earlier today and was recently sent an email with some details that I'm going to share with you today. Now, the formula is really unique, and this is what I fell in love with originally. It's this, what we call PREFER method, and that's an acronym that stands for Passive Real Estate Flips Easy Returns. And like I say on all of these videos, I love what that acronym represents. Passive, real estate, easy returns. These are three things that I absolutely adore. I don't know about you, but if you've ever been interested in real estate, the more passive, the better. And real estate in general is just where my heart and soul lies, has for 23, 24 years now. So with all that in mind, how does this work exactly? Well, Maven is generally going to be lending from a private equity fund and putting 80% into the first mortgage, along with the construction costs of the rehab. They're going to be responsible for the project and oversight of the contractors, and they're going to then be responsible for the turnaround and sale of that property, while me as a lender on the 20% difference between the 80% they cover and the purchase price, I'm going to end up sitting back and collecting my mailbox money. Okay. So I went $100,000 into a deal earlier this year, and that project is well underway right now. And I'm expecting an extremely generous return, almost a too good to be true return, which is very similar to what we're going to be discussing today. What you'll hear in all of those videos that I've brought to this channel so far about the PREFER method as my primary gripe is that there's just not enough inventory, guys. This is the problem everybody's having, whether you're a real estate investor or a home buyer for your primary residence. There's very little to choose from, which has left only 1 to 5 deals a month so far available that are really healthy enough in terms of meat on the bone for Maven to even be interested in getting involved. And so what they've done is they've said, look, let's continue with the fix and flip model while simultaneously controlling the narrative and getting involved with ground up construction. And that's what they're bringing to us today. This is a first time opportunity for this channel. 1/3 of this deal is already spoken for by other PREFER lenders. We have a list right now just since April of roughly 100 PREFER lenders, give or take 5 at this point. The last video I put up, which I'll link in the description below, you can check that one out as well, brought in 23 individual PREFER lenders that are interested in getting involved in the next project. Now, the only qualification you have to get involved is you've got to show up with at least $50,000. I personally am not interested in taking somebody's last $50,000. I'm also not interested in being somebody that promotes that you invest $50,000 if you are not in a secure place financially. All investments are going to have risks associated with them. So you've got to make sure that you're very careful not to jump at this because it seems so tempting. Just make sure that you're cash flowing well, that if you are borrowing the money from a debt weapon, say a home equity line of credit, or you're going to one of your retirement accounts and borrowing from that, or an infinite banking policy, a whole life insurance policy and borrowing from that, or you're using your family and friends' money and you're leveraging through some form of arbitrage, that this is not what you're counting on to save you. If you're in a position of hardship, if you're not positively cash flowing, this is not something you're going to want to consider. But if you are in a positive position financially, if you are fiscally responsible, generally speaking, if you have limited to no non-mortgage related, especially credit card based debts, then this would be something you're going to want to make sure you keep on the radar, even if it isn't this particular project we're discussing today. And the way you get on the waiting list yourself is you email prefer@vipfinancialeducation.com. That's prefer@vipfinancialeducation.com. Put your first name, last name, and phone number in the email, and then you'll have a quick conversation with somebody on their team that can answer any questions for you, address any particular concerns you might have. But while there is risk to every investment you might make, I think this one is the most mitigated risk proposition that I've come across in the 2 decades that I've been doing this now. And that's because you have security interest and collateral against the property. You're the first to be paid out as a lender. So when I put my $100,000 into that project in Baton Rouge, I'm actually first paid out when that deal sells. Obviously, contractors and the construction crews get their cut too, but before Maven makes a penny, I'm getting paid. Before Maven makes a penny, if you're a lender, you're getting paid. So keep that in mind. Now, this deal is unique because they're building this project from scratch. This is a lack of inventory issue. So they're saying, let's buy some of the best land we can get. Let's look for the best lots in the best areas, in the most desirable markets in the country, and let's build our own houses. Because of the inventory shortage right now, because there is a problem with everybody holding onto their homes, nobody wants to get rid of their existing low or historically low interest rate mortgages. So they're holding on to them, just like myself. I have an investment property outside of Denver I've been wanting to sell for a couple of years. But when the rates started going up last year, it just didn't make sense anymore. I'm not going to trade a historically low interest rate at 4% on my investment property for an 8% investment property loan by 1031 exchanging the proceeds into a different house. So I'm holding on to it. And that's what everybody's doing. They're just holding on to their mortgages, meaning there's just not enough properties on the market to support the demand that's there for not just investors like yourself and me, but to support the primary homeowner buyers that are trying to get out there and either buy their first homes or a subsequent home. And so with all that in mind, Maven has control. They can build the house themselves. And this particular property is the first one they're bringing to us. Here's the deal. It's 3804 Harding Place in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a $700,000 preferred investor loan interest payout. So if you come in with $50,000, you can fractionalize that. There can be it's a $2.5 million raise. So there could be 50 people each putting in $50,000. And each person would receive a 20% cash on cash return on their money. So if you put in $50,000, 20% in roughly 1 year from now, the timeline that they're anticipating is 12 months. They're generally conservative with their timelines. I like to be ultra conservative. So if they're telling me 12, I'm thinking 14 in my head. They're thinking 10 months in their heads. Okay, so it'll be somewhere in that range. But 20% cash on cash return in that 12-month estimated turn time. So if you put in 50,000, your payout would be 10 grand in proceeds plus your original 50 back. If you put in 100,000, your payout would be 20,000. If you put in $500,000, your payout would be $100,000. So this is an enormous, almost too good to be true rate of return, as have been all of the Maven deals. But when you look at the proceeds of an after repair value estimated to be $3.5 million, they can afford to pay 20% on $2.5 million and still make a generous cut for themselves. That would leave them about $500,000 in proceeds for their own profit and effort in the deal. So even if the market has a bit of fluctuation, if you're a preferred lender and you are participating in this $2,472,000 raise, to be precise, $2,472,000 raise, with about a third of that already spoken for. Each of those individuals is now expecting again to be paid out before anybody else on this deal. So Maven would end up being the ones taking the hit if the market fluctuates by the time this sells. And that's, again, how much of this risk is mitigated on these projects. Keep in mind, there's risk in anything you're going to invest in. And if you're looking for something passive, you better expect that risk levels are going to go up or rates of return are going to be very, very low. If you're a little less risk adverse and you're willing to recognize where risk is mitigated, but are still going to be taking chances on things along the way, then you're going to appreciate a 20% cash on cash return, because it's virtually impossible to get that, and you'll never find it with no risk at all. So you're going to have to take some chances. My personal recommendation would be maybe you throw $50,000 or $100,000 at this, and if you have more to spare, you're throwing $50,000 or $100,000 at other projects as well, and you're diversifying within this model. And that's generally how I'm going to play my cards when I'm investing in anything. I'm diversifying within that specific space or asset class. Same thing I do with cryptocurrencies. I don't know which one's going to do great over the next 10 years. So I spread it out. I do believe in digital currencies and digital assets, so I want to participate, but I'm not going to put all my eggs into one basket. We just had one lender come into us and said, I want to put $200,000 into every project. So each project that comes up, they jump at it. Now, this is all first come, first serve. And like I said, my biggest complaint about all of these is the fact that there just isn't enough inventory. So anytime we introduce these properties, they're gone like that. This one's different because it is being funded exclusively by the VIP audience, which means that $2.5 million is a lot of money to raise as a group. So that's going to be available a little bit longer. It means you can actually take a little time to ask some questions, to run it past your mentors or people in your circle of influence that might have experience in real estate that you trust. And you can take a little bit more time to think about whether or not you want to participate instead of the project being gone within hours, which has been the problem over the last few months. It's not a problem for Maven. It's not a problem for me. It's just been a problem for the people who have spoken up and said, I want to get involved. And by the time they jump at something, the deal's gone. So this is a really great middle of the road across the board. I think it's an exciting addition to the palette of opportunity that Maven has brought to the VIP channel. I am a skeptic. I'm naturally born skeptical. And so I've been trying to poke holes in this stuff. And while personally, I would rather the deal be done before 12 months, and personally, I would rather the deal have 80% returns, cash on cash. And personally, would I rather just stick with fixing and flipping? Yeah, probably so. But as I bring those concerns up to Joe, he has such confidence that over the next 3 to 5 years, this will be the direction that most fix and flip individuals choose to go, is to supplement the need to fill the shortcomings or the shortage of inventory in the market right now. And that way we can actually control what's happening, and there will always be inventory. So this will certainly not be the last construction deal, ground up construction where they're building a house from scratch. It'll be a brand new property anticipated to be absolutely stunning. It's on a 0.8 acre lot. It's a very high-end neighborhood. This is one of the most sought out areas of Nashville. It's close to restaurants and nightlife. The plans have already been submitted to the city for approval. So this thing is moving along. One more time on that address, and I'll put some comps at the end of this video as well as in the description. So make sure you just stick around through the end of the video so you can see exactly how they're coming up with their after repair values. 3804 Harding Place in Nashville, Tennessee, postal code 37215. Median home prices in this area are between $2 million and up, and it's up 36% from last year at this point. So extremely exciting, and I just love that Maven's not a one-trick pony. Again, if you have at least $50,000, whether you're sourcing it from anywhere, like your retirement accounts, bank accounts, debt weapons, family, friends, you're arbitraging. You can even arbitrage with your family and friends. You turn your family and friends onto a 15% cash on cash annual percentage yield, and you keep 5 for yourself. That's completely doable, and many investors or lenders have been coming in from the channel doing that. So cool stuff here, folks. If you're interested, email prefer@vipfinancialeducation.com. Put your first name, last name, and phone number in the description so that you can be contacted and get your questions answered. And at least you'll be on the waiting list, which is an email distribution that goes out before any of these videos hit our channel. So you'll have 1, 2, maybe even 3 days to be first come, first serve. But once it's claimed, once the project's spoken for, you're out. And that's, people have been getting a little bit frustrated that they're missing out on some of these projects that go within a matter of hours because they don't check their emails as frequently as maybe the next guy does. So there's not much I can say about that. I think, it's a dog eat dog situation. And when you're dealing with these types of returns, everybody is clamoring to get involved, especially since it's passive and is not going to take a lot of sweat equity, if any at all, from your side. So look forward to seeing you on the next video, folks. jump at this deal if you're interested. And until I see you there, make it a great day today and keep on cash flow. Take care.